I stood alone in my graduation gown, staring at 3 empty chairs marked "Reserved, Bennett Family." My heart sank, but I wasn't surprised. My parents, Laura and Greg, swore they were too exhausted to make the trip. "Work's been brutal, Mia," they said. "We'll cheer from home." I believed them, foolishly, clutching my valedictorian card under the Santa Barbara sun. But then, my phone lit up with Chloe's Instagram story. There they were, my mom and sister, laughing, sipping mimosas in plush robes at Serenity Shore Spa. The caption read, "Mother-daughter bliss." Mom commented, "My shining star." Not a word about me, their daughter, who'd worked 4 years for this moment. My chest tightened, not with anger, but with clarity. They weren't too tired for Chloe's spa day, just for me. Why was I always the one left waiting? That day, I stopped chasing their applause. This is the story of how I found my voice, and it started with those empty chairs. I'd spent 4 years at Coastal Crest University, pouring everything into my studies. Late nights, endless notes, skipped parties, all for one moment, standing on that stage as valedictorian. Under the Santa Barbara sun, I rehearsed my walk from the tunnel to the podium, my black gown clinging to my legs. The dean handed me a card, gold letters spelling valedictorian beneath my name, Mia Bennett. "You'll sit center stage," she said, pointing to a metal chair. I nodded, clutching the card like it could anchor me. I'd reserved 3 seats for my family, Laura, Greg, and Chloe, hoping they'd show up. Deep down, I knew better. Back in my dorm, I called home, hands shaky with excitement. "Mom, Dad, it's confirmed. I'm valedictorian." Laura picked up, her voice distracted, HGTV humming in the background. "That's nice, Mia. So, top grades, right?" I swallowed hard. "Yeah, I'm giving the speech." She chuckled, our little bookworm, always studying. Then she pivoted, "Did I tell you Chloe's modeling gig might land her in LA?" I didn't interrupt, letting her ramble about Chloe's dreams, her stylist, her future. It wasn't new. Growing up, I was the quiet one, reading in my room while Chloe twirled in new dresses, Mom clapping, Dad filming her like she was a star. I'd stare at our family photo on the mantle, Chloe front and center, me half hidden in the back. "You're our serious one," Mom would say, as if that explained why my birthdays were quiet dinners while Chloe's were backyard extravaganzas. I tried to shake it off, focusing on the speech I'd drafted, full of gratitude I wasn't sure I felt. A week before, I'd driven 3 hours to our family home in Monterey, carrying handwritten invitations. Thick ivory paper, gold ink, my childhood calligraphy swirling their names. "It'd mean the world if you were there," I'd written. At dinner, I slid the envelopes across the table. Dad raised an eyebrow. "You drove all this way for these?" Mom smiled, "Oh, Mia, your curly letters." Chloe glanced up, said, "Cute," then went back to her phone. No one asked about my speech, my plans, or what it took to get here. I cleared the dishes, like always. The day before graduation, I called again, hoping for a change of heart. Dad answered, sounding worn. "Mia, it's a long drive. Your mom's swamped with listings, and my reports are piling up. We're just too tired. We'll watch the live stream, okay? We're proud of you." I stood under the bleachers, phone pressed to my ear, the weight of their words sinking in. Too tired. Always too tired for me. I wanted to believe they meant it, that pride was enough. But something in me cracked, a quiet ache I'd carried too long. I hung up, staring at my phone, not ready for what I'd find next. I stood under the bleachers, the Santa Barbara heat pressing down, my phone still warm from Dad's call. "Too tired," he'd said. The words echoed, familiar, hollow. I should have closed my phone, focused on the rehearsal, but something pulled me to Instagram. Chloe's story loaded, and my breath caught. There they were, my sister and mom, Laura, at Serenity Shore Spa in Monterey. Plush white robes, mimosas in hand, rose petals floating in a foot bath. They were laughing, heads tilted back, carefree. The caption read, "Mother-daughter bliss." I tapped again. A boomerang of their glasses clinking, Chloe's smile wide, Mom's eyes sparkling. Self-care over chaos, it said. Mom's comment below hit harder, best day with my shining star. Not a mention of me, their daughter, sweating through gown rehearsals, clutching a valedictorian card. My chest tightened, a sharp, quiet ache. They weren't too tired for Chloe's spa day. Just for me. I scrolled back, staring at the images, each tap like peeling a wound. It wasn't just today. It was every moment they'd chosen her. I was 16, asking for a simple birthday dinner at a local Italian place in Monterey. Just the four of us, pasta, maybe tiramisu. Mom waved it off. We're swamped, Mia. Let's celebrate at home. So we did. A wrapped box on the kitchen counter, a leather planner, practical, with a note, for the future you're building. I smiled, said thank you, even helped with the dishes. But months later, Chloe turned 19. Suddenly, our backyard transformed. String lights twinkled, a private chef carried silver trays, and a cake shaped like a designer purse sat beside a karaoke setup. Chloe twirled in a dress Mom picked out, her laughter ringing. Dad filmed every moment, grinning like it was a movie premiere. Mom clapped, shouting, "Our little star." I stood at the sliding door, invisible, watching. They never called me that. Not once. I tried to ask about it later, my voice soft, careful. Why's it always different for Chloe? Mom sighed. Oh, Mia, you don't like parties. You're our serious one, our planner. As if that erased the sting. As if it justified never asking what I wanted. I overheard them once, years ago, in the kitchen. Chloe's our dreamer, Laura said. Mia's got her head in books. She'll be fine. Fine. That word became my cage. I worked harder, stayed up later, chased perfect grades, thinking if I couldn't be their star, maybe I'd be the one they'd quote at dinner parties. But they never did. Chloe's modeling gigs, her brunches, her selfies, they filled their stories, their pride, their time. Now, under the bleachers, those spa photos burned. I tapped to the last clip, a still of Chloe's head on Mom's shoulder, their smiles soft, curated. Best day with my star girl, Mom wrote again. No proud of Mia. No wish we were at graduation. Not even a hint I existed. My fingers hovered over the screen. I wanted to comment, to scream, to demand why. Instead, I closed the app, my hands trembling. I walked back to my dorm, the valedictorian card crumpled in my pocket. The speech I'd written, full of safe gratitude, felt like a lie. I couldn't thank them, not after this. Not after years of being the afterthought. I wasn't angry, not yet. But something in me shifted, a quiet resolve. I'd been waiting for their applause my whole life. Maybe it was time to stop. Back in my dorm, the Santa Barbara sunset fading outside, I sat at my desk, the valedictorian card crumpled beside my laptop. Chloe's spa photo still burned in my mind, Mom's comment, my shining star, looping like a cruel refrain. My speech, neatly typed, stared back from the screen, full of polished gratitude for a family who didn't show up. Thank you, Mom and Dad, it began. A lie. I highlighted every word and hit delete. The blank page felt like freedom, terrifying and raw. I typed 5 words, this is not a thank you. My fingers paused, then kept going, as if the truth had been waiting years to spill out. I wasn't writing for them anymore. I was writing for the girl who'd stayed up late, perfecting essays while Chloe posted beach selfies from Malibu. The girl who skipped spring breaks to study, who spent one summer in a stuffy university library proofreading papers while Chloe sipped cocktails on a yacht. I'd traded fun for focus, not because I didn't want to laugh, but because I thought hard work would make them see me. It never did. I remembered a journal entry from high school, tucked in a drawer. Why don't they care? I'd written at 16, after another quiet birthday. That question had followed me, a shadow I couldn't shake. Now, it fueled me. The new speech took shape, not out of anger, but clarity. To those who kept showing up when no one clapped, "This is for you," I wrote. Each word felt like reclaiming a piece of myself. I thought of the nights I doubted my worth, wondering why I wasn't enough. I thought of the family photo on our mantle, Chloe front and center, me half hidden. "You're our serious one," Mom always said, as if seriousness meant I didn't need love. But I did. I just stopped asking for it, building my life without their cheers. This speech wasn't for their approval. It was for everyone like me, who'd learned to celebrate alone. I leaned back, staring at the screen, my heart pounding. The words were honest, sharp, but careful, not a rant, but a truth they couldn't ignore. I printed the pages, the ink still warm, and folded them beside the old draft, just in case I lost my nerve. But deep down, I knew I wouldn't. Those empty chairs at graduation, that spa day, those years of being overlooked, they'd carved something fierce in me. I wasn't the girl waiting by the phone anymore. I was the woman who'd walk to that podium and speak for herself. The night stretched on, but I felt lighter, like I'd finally let go of their expectations. I was ready to step into my moment. I stepped toward the podium at Coastal Crest University, the Santa Barbara sun blazing overhead. My hands were steady, gripping the folded speech I'd rewritten in the dark hours before dawn. The crowd buzzed, a sea of caps and gowns, but my eyes locked on 3 empty chairs labeled "Reserved, Bennett Family." Laura, Greg, Chloe, they weren't there. I adjusted the mic, my breath even, and looked straight into the livestream camera. This wasn't for them. This was for me, and for everyone who'd ever felt unseen. To those who worked hard to be seen, this is for you, I began, my voice clear, carrying across the field. To the professors who stayed late, answering our questions like they mattered, thank you. To the friends who knew when to knock and when to sit in silence beside us, thank you. I saw Jess in the crowd, her eyes shining, and Tyler giving a quiet nod. The air felt alive, connected. And to those who believed in showing up, even when it was inconvenient, uncomfortable, or unfashionable, thank you. I let the word linger. Some heads nodded, others shifted, sensing the weight. Graduation is about achievement, I continued, but it's also about being witnessed. There's a difference between making it and being seen making it. Some of us didn't have confetti waiting at home. Some of us weren't born into applause. My voice stayed firm, but my gaze flicked to those empty chairs. I reserved 3 seats in the family section. They're still available. A cough echoed from the aisle, sharp in the sudden silence. The crowd felt it, the truth I wasn't hiding. I didn't name them, didn't need to. The camera held my face, broadcasting to phones, living rooms, maybe even a spa in Monterey. If you've ever sat in a room, wondering if your success mattered because no one clapped, hear me now, it does. Always has. Jess's eyes brimmed with tears, Tyler let out a low whistle, his smile wide. A few students leaned forward, their caps tilted, listening like my words were theirs. Some of us learned love came with conditions, pride with terms. But you don't need permission to feel proud. I paused, letting it sink in. If you walked this stage for yourself, because no one pushed you, no one praised you, I see you. We made it, and we made it honestly. I folded the paper, stepping back from the mic. Applause started slow, a ripple, then surged, louder than I'd imagined. It washed over me, but I wasn't listening for it. Somewhere, behind a screen, they were hearing this: Laura, Greg, Chloe. For once, they couldn't interrupt, couldn't spin it, couldn't smile and pivot to Chloe's next gig. They had to sit with my truth. I glanced at the empty chairs one last time, not with anger, but with release. I'd spoken for the girl who'd waited too long, who doubted too much. This wasn't just a speech. It was a line drawn, a moment claimed. As I walked off the stage, Jess rushed forward, squeezing my hand, her voice thick. You were incredible, Mia. Tyler handed me a sunflower, his grin saying more than words. The crowd was still clapping, professors nodding, strangers whispering. I felt their eyes, not as pressure, but as warmth. I'd always thought I needed my family's pride to feel whole. But standing there, speech in hand, I realized I'd found something better, my own. The weight I'd carried for years, those unanswered questions, those quiet birthdays, felt lighter. I wasn't invisible anymore. I'd made sure of it. Back in my dorm, the applause still echoing in my mind, I sat in my graduation gown, the room dark except for the desk lamp's soft glow. My speech had been a release, a truth I'd carried too long. But something lingered, heavy and unresolved. I opened my desk drawer, fingers brushing past pens and receipts until they found it, a worn envelope, my name, Mia, scrawled in Dad's familiar handwriting. He'd given it to me 3 years ago, after pancakes to celebrate my Coastal Crest acceptance. "Just something for you," he'd said, sliding it across the table. I'd read it once, tucked it away, and tried to forget. Now, I unfolded it carefully, the paper fragile under my touch. "Mia, you carry more than you let on," it read. "I see it. Your quiet strength is still strength. You've earned everything coming to you. Don't let anyone make you small to feel seen. You already are. Love, Dad." Simple words, but they hit like a wave. He'd seen me, once, before the spa days, before Chloe's spotlight stole every frame. I held the letter, my breath shallow, torn between warmth and ache. Why hadn't he shown up? Why had those words stayed on paper, never spoken at family dinners, never framed like Chloe's achievements? My phone buzzed, snapping me back. A text from Mom. We watched the stream. "Your speech was unexpected, but powerful. Call us when you can." No apology, no mention of the spa, just careful words. Then Chloe's message, "Congrats, valedictorian. Didn't know you were feeling all that. Less drama next time." Her tone stung, dismissive, like my truth was a performance. I stared at the screen, fingers hovering, tempted to reply, to explain, to demand they understand. But I didn't. I set the phone face down, my eyes drifting back to Dad's letter. It was real, a moment he'd seen me, but it wasn't enough to erase the empty chairs, the years of being an afterthought. I thought of their Instagram posts the next morning, Chloe in another robe, captioned, "True peace is choosing your energy." Mom's comment, "Our sunshine." No mention of my speech, my moment. I didn't like the post, didn't comment, didn't share. Their world spun on, curated and bright, but I was done chasing a place in it. Dad's letter, though, stayed with me, a quiet anchor. It wasn't loud like Chloe's parties, wasn't framed like her photos, but it existed. A piece of proof I wasn't always invisible. I folded it back, tucking it into the envelope, not ready to let it go. Sitting there, I realized I didn't need their texts, their posts, their pride. I'd spoken my truth on that stage, and it was enough. The ache was still there, but it was softer, less sharp. I wasn't the girl waiting for their applause anymore. I was building something new, something mine. The path ahead felt uncertain, but for the first time, I was ready to walk it alone. 3 weeks after graduation, I packed my life into boxes and moved to San Francisco. I'd said yes to a copywriting internship at a women-led digital magazine, a chance to write stories that mattered. My apartment was small, with creaky floors and a window catching 15 minutes of morning sun. It wasn't much, but it was mine. No family photos on the walls, no framed quotes, just quiet space to figure out who I was when no one was watching. I didn't call Mom or Dad, not out of spite, but because the need to hear their voices had faded. That thread, once so tight, had loosened. At work, I found my rhythm, pitching ideas in meetings, my voice steadier each day. One evening, I bought a bouquet of yellow tulips and baby's breath from a street vendor. Nothing fancy, just bright enough to light up my desk. I set my phone on a timer, sat at my kitchen table, and snapped a photo, smiling, the flowers in hand. I posted it on a new account, not my family's page, but my own. The caption read, "It took 22 years, but I finally took a photo that didn't need approval." No tags, no comments, no "so proud of our girl." I didn't need them. That picture was for the girl who'd waited by the phone, who'd scrolled through Chloe's posts wondering what she'd done wrong. She didn't wonder anymore. Chloe texted one night, out of the blue. "I'm in the city. Lunch?" We met at a bustling San Francisco market, neutral ground. No talk of mom, dad, or the spa day. No apologies, no empty chairs. We compared rent prices, laughed about traffic, like two adults meeting for the first time. It wasn't deep, but it was honest. When we parted, Chloe hesitated, her eyes soft, like she wanted to say more. She didn't, and I was okay with that. I walked home, the city alive around me, and felt a quiet freedom. I was building a life that didn't need their spotlight. Looking back, the biggest lesson hit me hard: your worth isn't tied to who shows up for you. Not your parents, not your sister, not anyone. You can wait forever for their applause, but it's your own voice that matters most. I learned to celebrate myself, even if I was the only one clapping. Buy your own flowers, write your own story, and don't wait for permission to shine. That graduation speech wasn't just for me, it was for anyone who's ever felt unseen, who's kept going anyway. I'm still learning, still growing, but I know this: I'm enough, with or without their cheers. So, what's one thing you'll do to celebrate yourself today? Maybe it's a small step, like buying tulips, or a big one, like chasing a dream. Whatever it is, you deserve it. Your story matters, and it starts with you. Keep showing up, keep shining, because you're worth it.